I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands.
Welcome to Build an Iconic Life podcast. I'm your host, Chris Whitehead, and this podcast is dedicated to help you build a life with zero regrets by focusing on how you have everything you need to stand up, stand out, and live life on your terms. Let's dive right in. Hey everybody, it's Chris Whitehead with Build an Iconic Life. I'm here with Tim Bambu. Tim, thank you for showing up today, brother.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. So before we get rolling, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you are in life, what you're doing, and what your particular skill set is.
So a little bit about me. I've done digital marketing for a long time, building websites, doing social media, YouTube, stuff like that. And I've always been doing it either where I'm working or in college. And I do it professionally. And also I'm looking at making the transition of starting my own company, and instead of just working for somebody else, to share that, my talent with other people.
What was your reason for deciding to open up your own company? That's kind of a big deal.
For me, I found that I wanted the challenge of actually doing something for myself.
Sure.
Because I've always do things for other people. I consider myself a nice guy, right? So I'm always doing stuff for somebody else. But it goes hand in hand, right? Because if I do my own thing, then I can actually help more people than just the one person I'm working with.
That's true.
So it's for myself and for other people.
What is probably one of your biggest skill sets? I already know what it is, but I mean, I want to let people know that, you're not just somebody who's just starting his own company. You've had some success, and some pretty large success. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I can. So currently right now I'm working for a doctor, and the biggest thing, I've done a lot of stuff for him, from Google My Business to building him a website to basically everything on a digital side of the practice. And what I've done with him, the biggest thing that happened with him actually is YouTube. He's a very good speaker, and he wanted to do something digitally with on video, and YouTube was the perfect platform to do it. And it's grown quite a bit. He had a couple videos up before I got there, and he had 5 subscribers. And right now, one channel's at 300,000, and then the other's at 200,000, which is really surreal.
How long did it take you to build that for him?
I started in June of 2020. So
2 years, and a few months.
2 years. We started posting consistently probably towards the end of that year, so October, November. So
okay.
about 2 years.
Gotcha. And has it turned into a financial reward for him to have that many people viewing him?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's changed his business for sure. It's been really influential for him. Which I think neither of us really expected, because it just kind of, if you know about YouTube, it just kind of happens, right? If you have good content, and you create something that brings value to people, it will, YouTube will pick it up and share it. And if they keep sharing it, then it just keeps growing and growing. And that's what happened with us.
What is it that you want to transition into to help people with? What are you thinking of doing?
Right now, I want to focus. I think I'm going to focus on YouTube, just because of that's where I've kind of been in the weeds a lot more than everywhere else. So that's where I think I want to be, and to understand and share what I know about growing and creating content on there with others.
So are you going to become your own first client?
I am. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I don't have any videos posted yet, but I have a YouTube channel. It's going to be under my name. And I do have a company set up. It's going to be Driven Digital with a one. And actually, I built. You can't see the whole thing, but I have it. I have Driven back here spelled
Oh,
out.
I see it in the picture behind you a little bit.
Yes, yeah. So I made this picture. So this is to explain this picture. This is like my big, hairy, audacious goal, right? We all have something we want to work towards. So this is mine. So that's Le Mans, the track in France, and my goal is to race there one day. So
heck yeah.
So that is what something that really drives me. I have a passion for motorsports, and it's part of where the name came from, right? So Driven, and with the one, right? So you can't see the one, but it's Dr1ven. So I have the one in there because for winning, really. And then Driven, I feel like I'm a driven person, so I want to always do my best and be the best, and that's what drives me.
What is it that I mean, think about, how old are you right now?
I'm 31.
You're 31. Getting ready to launch into the great unknown of entrepreneurship. Welcome. I've survived 25 years. If I can do it, anybody can do it, everybody. You're aligned with some people, and you're in a mastermind where you're being taught. That's how we met. One of my really good friends, Tom Keenan, is running a mastermind called Step It Up Academy, where he teaches you these building blocks of how to put a business together.
Right. Yeah.
Which I think is brilliant. It also is you telling yourself that you're really doing this, and it's not just a dream. It's not just a goal. You're putting feet to it.
Correct.
But this thing about Le Mans, this hairy, audacious goal, now that's something to sink your teeth into. How long has that been on your mind?
As a kid, I was depressed, and I found racing when I was 15, and it was something that allowed me to get my mind off of everything and just kind of be in a place that was...
You were in flow.
Yeah, you're in flow, and I've always loved cars, right? So even before ever since I was I could remember, I've always loved cars. So
and are you talking about like physically racing cars when you were 15?
No,
wow.
Well, it wasn't cars; it was go-karts.
Go-karts. Oh no, it's awesome, man.
So they had rental kart, a school, and I did that, and I just fell in love with it because it was just for me. It was an outlet. I could go and do something. It being kind of different than just what you get stuck in day to day as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And I was lucky to have great parents that allowed me to do it and was able to be to allow me to do it, really.
Yeah.
And from there, it's always been my goal to be a professional driver. But if you know about racing, when you're a professional driver, most of the time you're paying anyways, right? So you need to have a lot of money to do it. So that's where my drive, but being driven comes from, is to get there and do that.
I'm sure that you've come across some obstacles along the way, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You want to tell people a little bit about a little bit of your story?
So me and my parents. So the biggest thing that happened, the biggest obstacle, which you find out right away after you start doing it and you get successful, right? So I'm 15, 16 years old. I win a couple races. We go to a team and we ask them, well, I've won a couple races, you get sponsorship, right? When you're part of racing, you see on TV, they have all these sponsors and stuff like that. So we go to a team and we're like, hey, I've won a couple races. Let's see, what is there opportunities for me to, go race with you and, and move along to the next step. Like, oh yeah, no, sure. We can definitely do that for you. Yeah, no problem. And they hand over a $5,000 contract for a go-kart race. oh, that's how this works.
So you had to pay the 5 or they paid you the 5
No. You have to pay them.
to
And
be
that's
on?
with your own equipment.
Okay.
So you learn real quick how that works. So what I focused on after that, right? So I hit that obstacle. I'm like, oh well, shoot. Well, what the heck am I going to do? So I found that some of the drivers they had engineering degrees because they know the car really well, right? So I was like, well, I should probably do that. I should know about the car because that's who like Roger Penske and all these big guys hire. They know about the race car and they know about racing itself. So and driving. So I apply to school, college, and I start out doing mechanical engineering. I do that, and I find out that it really wasn't what I wanted to do as a career. So here, the story with them too, right? So talking about doing digital media and stuff I've done kind of my whole life. So they were in a shed when I got there. And I was like, well, shoot, we can't do this. So I built a website and talked to people in the school so people knew about what we were doing and promoted them. And we got a lot more from the school, just a lot more support, and we got different sponsors and stuff to help build the race car because it's a great organization. It's Formula SAE if anyone wants to look it up, but all the colleges do it, and it's a 501c3 with the school, so people can donate. So from there, I found out that I just naturally went towards marketing and business rather than being an engineer, just doing calculations and sitting behind the
Yep.
computer and stuff like that. So I actually ended up graduating with a marketing degree and just been doing that professionally instead of engineering.
You know, it's funny. You went in thinking that you were going to be a bolt turner, and the truth is being a real marketer, you're also a bolt turner,
Yep,
and a bolt
100%.
maker. You're just doing it in a different way. And the coolest part is you didn't give up. You didn't just fall into something and say, "Oh well, this is what I have to do." And you've
Right.
gone through a natural evolutionary process. You're 31 now, so you graduated what, 21?
20, actually 23,
23.
24. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
so
It
24.
was
So
4 years.
5-6 years you've been in the job market. You've, at least this last version, you've helped this gentleman revolutionize his business through YouTube. And YouTube does work. You just have to know what you're doing.
Right.
And you're now ready to take one step closer to Le Mans, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
And what is it that you really want to help people do? Like, I know you've been working on core values and SOPs and things like that. Like, do you have your core values set? Are there certain kinds of clients you specifically want to help?
So I have my own personal core values set. That's actually something I want to work on this weekend is figuring out for the company what the company's going to do for others. Um, I again, I think I talked about it just before, but I'm a person who always does stuff for others, right? So it's really hard for me to do stuff for myself. And it was huge at the event we were at to really get clear on those core values. Really huge.
Dude, it's everything.
Because it gives me a gauge to really see if what I'm doing aligns with what I really want. I'm not just doing something blindly to to just get others to accept me or like me or anything like that, right?
Yep.
I can actually look back and say, okay, is this really for me?
You feel like
So
you're going to start vetting your clients, is what I'm hearing. You're not just going to go out there and do it for the almighty dollar.
yes, and I think what I'm seeing, even with the companies I've worked at, is that's really important for the relationship you have with your customers, especially if it's something that will take, like with social media, you have to be, you have to be a part of the company. You have to understand it. You have to, and especially YouTube, if you're filming it, like you have to really be in alignment with those people to make it work and bring it to that next level. And also something about YouTube is people catch right away if you're not being genuine. So if you're not genuinely understanding and talking about what you're doing for the betterment of others and creating values for others with your videos, people will click off of it and YouTube won't show it.
Yeah, so you can't go on and be a shiny salesperson and have that accepted. People want to see real value is what I hear you saying.
Correct. 100% with whatever you do on social media, and especially on YouTube, because it's long form. It's not something that's 10, 15 seconds. You get people on there to really grow. You have to get them on there for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes plus.
Yep. Absolutely get it. So you've got your personal core values. You're going to start setting these business core values. Are there any specific industries that you believe that you have an unfair advantage in from your experience?
Right now, it's definitely, I've just been in the weeds so much with medical. I think medical, anything related to medical would be something I just have a lot of knowledge of. I don't know if that's going to be my core business yet with all my clients.
Sure.
Because a lot of the stuff translates to other industries. When you have a framework, you can use that within other industries. But medical and health and wellness and that whole sphere, it's part of the reason why we blew up so much is because he actually talks about, the doctor I work for, health, like fasting and nutrition and all that kind of stuff. And people have been on a health binge, right, since this whole pandemic. So there's just a lot of eyes on it. But even before that, there's a lot of eyes on it. So it's something that people just research a lot. And it's just an industry that has a lot of eyeballs on it. So it works really well when you have good content on YouTube.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, man. It makes a whole lot of sense. If, we just have a few minutes left. If you were to give people 2 or 3 tips, like, hey, maybe they're not quite ready to hire a professional to help them explode because they have some learning to do. But if you were to give people 2 or 3 tips, especially on YouTube, if they want to start dabbling in, what would you tell them that they needed to get clear on, and what could they do? Or if maybe you just have some cool hacks.
I think the biggest thing is understand your customers and understand who's going to be watching the videos. If you understand what people are going to watch, if you understand your customers and your viewers that well, then you can create the content that they're going to watch. So an example would be, a good thing for you to do is just to go into YouTube and start typing in whatever questions that your customers may have and look at what other people are making and look at the view counts and see what other people are doing and translate that into what you bring value with and what your unique differentiating factor is, whatever you do, and put your spin on it and answer those questions for your customers.
And so you can literally type the question in that you think somebody would ask into the search.
Here's a big thing about YouTube that people don't, it goes right over their head. They don't even think about it. YouTube is the second biggest search engine behind Google. So if it's also, you can type it in Google too, right? You'll actually start seeing now the videos will pop up on Google from YouTube.
Yep.
Answering those questions, right? So YouTube is actually a search engine more than just like an entertainment platform or a video platform. Like, people go there to answer questions. You can think about it yourself. Even me, when I need to learn something about video editing software, what do? I go to YouTube and say, okay, how do I use markers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's videos that will come up and there's people that will show me just how to use the program.
Yep.
So that's super, super powerful. Super, super powerful.
Do you have another tip that you would give anybody?
The biggest, just start filming. Use
Right?
your phone. If you have, so I have a 12 Pro.
Yep.
Okay, I work professionally. I do professional video. I've filmed race cars and events. I've done that for someone I'm working with. I have filmed with this camera on my 12 Pro, and this is what, 2-year-old phone. I
Yep.
film with this camera. I've integrated the video with the other video, and you can't tell the difference. So if
Yeah.
you have a phone in the past 5 years, you don't need to worry about equipment. You don't need to worry about anything. Just start doing something. Just do it. Even if you don't post it, just film, get used to the camera, get in front of it, and just do it, right?
Yeah, it's called putting the reps in. You know, it was, gosh, back in 2011, I made my first video. And it was actually for a company, a remodeling company. And I put it on YouTube. Didn't get many views. That's okay. And you've seen me now speak, on stage and in front of people. Well, I can promise you the guy that you saw speak last month on stage is a vastly different human being than the guy in 2011. But the truth is, you're right, just had to start somewhere. And here's what's really funny, because I tell this in my mastermind. It used to take me 4 hours to make a 4-minute video. And then I would put it in Camtasia and I'd clip it all up. And so you'd see my head jerk here and then jerk there. And then I wasn't in the right spot. I mean, they were horrible. And now I can get up and talk for 45 minutes without any script, don't even know what I'm going to talk about. And you're absolutely right. There is a level of authenticity now in the marketplace, and especially amongst consumers, because they've seen video for so long that they're picking up on your body language. They're picking up on your tonality. They want to know that you know what you're talking about. And if you
100%.
don't, and you're trying to just sell the idea, it won't, even if the information is good, people will not watch it because
Doesn't
there
work
are
anymore.
people that have practiced. There are other people that have practiced until they're comfortable. So I agree with you. Like, that's done is better than perfect.
Absolutely.
And that is something that a lot of people that are considering putting themselves in video, you just got to get going.
Right.
Tim,
So this is the first time. This is the first time I've been on video. I think this is probably the first time I've done anything like this, to be honest.
How cool is that?
So you talking about your head jerking? My head's probably gonna be jerking around in my first videos, which you'll watch, and then that's a part of the process. It's just the evolution of leveling up and becoming a better person. If that's what you want to do, what you want to be, it's a part of that process.
Well, and it's why we that are similar core values, that are, some of us are further behind, some, just because we haven't begun yet. You're just beginning. Some of us have been doing it for years. The reason we get together, number one, is to educate. Number two, there is a level of inspiration that comes from seeing somebody do something well and then being able to tell you, well, I just started and I just never quit. And the road's been bumpy sometimes, but we've also had some massive success along the way, and you capitalize on those. But there is an energy that you get to participate in so that you're not living in a world by yourself. And
100%.
I really wish, I've been in business now for 25 years. I really wish that my first year in business, I set myself, it just wasn't really around back then that I was aware of anyway. And I think you're in the right spot. And I think you're giving yourself the absolute best opportunity to have a successful launch. And I'm proud of you for doing that, because it actually takes a lot of courage. It takes a whole lot of courage.
Right.
And not everybody, a lot of people talk about it, Tim.
Right.
They don't always do the work. And so I'm really proud of you for putting yourself out there and doing it, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. And it's been a long road. It's been years to gain the self-confidence, to gain the understanding of yourself and others, to get to this point, right? It's not something that happens overnight. And you have to have what I learned now, right? Doing so much by myself, it's so much better when you have other people around you. It makes it so much easier, and you see so much more about yourself and others, and being around others. So
if there was, two things. Number one, you're doing this thing, you are successful at it, you're still putting it together, which means by the time people actually watch this, because y'all might not know this, but one of my hacks is I'm already 6 months into the future with recordings.
Oh.
So we front loaded for the first month and a half, and I did a whole bunch of these things so that now I can go slower and just have 1 or 2 a week of people that I chat with, or I can invite people in like you that I'm like, hey, I want to have a conversation with this guy, because we were at that event and I was like, I want to get on and talk to you because this is important. So I appreciate you doing that. But by the time this airs, you're going to be well on your way building your business. What is the best way for people to contact you, number one?
So I have the domain, dr1ven.com, driven.com. So that will probably be the best place. I'll have everything on there that I'm doing currently.
Okay.
That's probably the best place. And then you can search for me on social media, just Tim Bambu, Bambu. Those are the two best places to find me. YouTube and Facebook,
just send
Instagram.
you a DM or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out, send me a DM, and I'll be on there. I'll have the website, and that's the best thing to do if you want to get in contact with me.
That's awesome, brother. So last thing I want to ask, if there was one thing that you could impart to other people, one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in your life,
Ooh.
that you could share with other people, can be anything, what would you want to leave people with?
Man, that's a good question, and a hard question for me. I would say you have to do actions more than just planning and thinking about tomorrow. You have to start something today, because for years I didn't do anything for myself. So, and when you start taking actions for yourself and just something small, and you make that promise to yourself and you keep it, it's a snowball effect. And it will just keep rolling and rolling and building and building. And not to let anything deter you, even if you don't keep that promise to yourself, that's okay. You'll keep it to yourself today. There's always the present to make something happen.
Dude, that's brilliantly said. For real, man, for real. Because there is no other moment than now. It's a human construct, this thing called time. And
Right.
A lot of people live in the future, or they live in the past, and they live in anguish because of it, when the truth is this moment is all we know we have. You're going to waste
100%.
it. You're going to waste it, or you're going to take action and do something with it and learn. Tim, thanks for taking the time to be on the show. I appreciate you, brother.
Honored to be here, Chris.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in the trenches.
Thank you.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand.
Hey, friend, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, please leave a review and subscribe to catch future casts. If you really enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it so others can benefit from it as well. I'll see you in the trenches.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.